We all want to be happier, but how do we get there? First, we start by realizing happiness is not a destination. Being happy consists of micro action steps every single day. I'm your host, Brittany King, and I'm here to guide you along the way. It is time. I get to interview Megan. Well, I was going to say Megan Curley, but because you will always be Megan Curley to me.
Megan.
She will, just like I'm still in people's phone as Brittany Golding. It's
Oh
like,
my gosh, I
yeah,
forgot that
yeah,
that was your maiden
that is
name.
my
Oh,
maiden name.
yeah,
I know.
yeah.
I'm so excited to share your journey and your story. It's so relatable for so many reasons. So why don't you share a little bit about why you reached out to me and how we started working together?
Yeah. So back in the fall of 2023, I basically was feeling very blah and just kind of at the time I had so my daughter was 10 months old. I was a stay-at-home mom. I did go back to work for a little bit after I had her, but I wasn't super passionate about that job. So by the time the fall came, I felt like, okay, I had the summer of doing stay-at-home motherhood, which is fantastic, but my brain was just like, I need to do something, but I can't do a Monday through Friday job because that's not going to work for our family right now. And I really wanted to use my mental health counseling skills and my education background and try to do some kind of something to help moms. So I always kind of was watching you, Brittany, and I felt like I'm like, wow, I feel like Brittany is straight up doing what I want to do. And I just something in me said, let me just book a call with her and see what she has to say and see if she can help me out. Because I feel like I had all these ideas, I just didn't know how to actually get started and I needed direction and I just needed clear cut directions. And that's what you helped me with a lot.
And I mean, there's so many things that you just shared are so important. Number one, it's like you don't have to reinvent the wheel, right? You're not when you see someone doing something that's like, wait, I can do that. I want to do something like that. Instead of trying to piece it together, it's so helpful to go to that person and be like, how did you do that? Like,
Mm-hmm.
what is this thing that you've built? I'm watching you and you probably, you've seen evolution because backstory is we were both in the at ASU's School of Education. So we both have that same passion of teaching and learning and applying. So when you reached out and I was like, yes, let's go. It's time.
Yes.
It's time.
Yes. You got to go
Especially
straight to the
you got to go
source.
straight to the source. And not to, it's again, it's really more so of if someone's doing something, it's like you can, there's no shortcuts, of course. It still requires work, but it really helps you spin your wheels a little bit less.
Yep.
Yeah. So, that initial, having the ideas and not knowing where to start, how did coaching help you organize those ideas and get started?
Yeah. So there was definitely a few things that helped. I think first was really looking at my own background, and I forget what you called the assignment, but it was basically I just made a huge list of what experience do I already have, and you really helped me to see that I already have a lot of strengths and I have a lot of experience and I don't necessarily need to sign up for another program or a training or something else. Let's work with what I already have. So that assignment was super helpful. And then that really helped me also narrow down what's my passion or who are my dream clients. So doing that whole dream client assignment and really thinking about, um, just who I want to work with, what type of people. And I, through those two things right there, I learned that I knew I already wanted to work with women. And then just to kind of narrow it down even more, just because I'm a new mom, I think just going for moms was made the most sense for me, because that's the season of life that I'm in right now. So
Mhm.
um those two assignments really helped me. Um, and then just all the other little things along the way, like just, you know, Instagram people to follow, or, you'd throw like a different topic at me and I'd say, okay, like, let me go research that a little bit. Like we talked about matrescence, and I didn't
Mhm.
even know what the word matrescence meant. And, now I'm in a matrescence training. So like, I don't need it, but I really wanted to do it because this really did align with my business. So this is going to be the last training for a while, but other than that, I have everything else I need
Well,
within me.
and I think to that point is like you were just looking for another certification to get another certification. You didn't actually know what it was. There was a lot of
Yeah,
confusion and a lot of fear of like what that was. And then once you got clarity on who you want to help, who you want to work with, like your unique background and how that can serve those people, then it's easier to sign up for a certification because it actually made sense. And
exactly.
so often people are just, they're like, I'm just going to go back to school. And I'm like, for what? They're like, I don't know. I just need to get, my master's. I'm like, for what? And they're like, just to have it. I'm like, well, where does that align in your life? You have to get clear on those things first. And then you do the next thing. It's not like, don't get another certification. It's like, just have more intentionality, which is exactly what you did. And you created that.
Yes.
Yeah. That's awesome. So what are some other things that were like, there's the tangible stuff, like, but what are some intangible things that you experienced through coaching that really helped you kind of gain that clarity, take action steps moving forward?
Yeah. So just, I think switching my mindset from, and I did a lot of practice with this with you in coaching, where it would go from, oh, well, let's figure out what's your actual role, or what's your job title. And I'd be like, oh, I like started this new business, and I would just kind of fumble over my words and not really, I almost didn't believe what I was saying. And I think now that I've done all the background work and actually have facilitated some workshops and done a ton of networking with other women recently, that I feel in my body like,
Mhm.
oh, I am this. So how
Mm.
I explain myself now is I'm a mental health educator and coach for moms, and I facilitate workshops around mental wellness and yada yada yada. That's basically it. That's my quick little meh versus
It's your
what I used
elevator
to
pitch.
do. Yeah, like I feel like I used to talk around in a circle about what I did, and I was trying to convince myself of what I did.
Yeah.
Um, so I think that was a big shift right there, of just saying it with confidence and feeling it also in my body, like
Mhm.
I believe it. Like
Mhm.
that's what I do, and I do have something to offer people. So
Great.
yeah, definitely believing that, like having that belief already within me, and not needing to go to somebody else and be like, well, what do you think? Do you think I'm good at this? Or, having that kind of
Mhm.
like insecurity. And trust me, I still do get insecure, but because we've done so much back and forth with, oh, this fear came up again, or I had this block about this, I know how to get to the other side a lot more quickly and kind of like shift that.
I love that you brought that up because I think there's a common misconception that like you never are faced, like once you get to the other side or whatever, you're not going to be faced with fears or insecurities or self-doubt, and that's just not true. It's just you're better equipped to handle it, where in the past it would be like fear would show up, not going to do something. Instead it's like, wait a second, let me look at this, let me see what's actually going on, let me look at what my thoughts are, and that helps you reframe it and redirect that energy, because that energy used to just be like more of shut down, not doing anything, right? Just kind of spinning in circles. Now you still move forward, like you're still taking action, even when the insecurities pop up.
Yep.
So, what surprised you the most about coaching?
I think what surprised me the most was how quickly I started to do things. And so just for example, I think within that first month of coaching, we were talking about, you even said to me, I remember you said, I think you can start making money this month. And I kind of was like, okay, Brittany, like in my head, like, okay, well, we'll see how that goes.
Yeah,
But
that
I
goes.
did actually, I mean, I didn't make I mean, what I'm doing, it's not super profitable at the moment, because I'm just starting out and it's
Mhm.
very new and I'm getting my name out there. But I did start making money and I did start using my skills right away. And I've just in the last few months been able to facilitate multiple wellness workshops with other professionals, which has been really cool. And I also started teaching yoga again, which it kind of started as my goal was, oh, maybe I'll just like start teaching yoga again. But I've done a lot more than just teaching yoga. So,
Yeah.
anyways, I think just seeing how quickly, the second I kind of made that decision of, okay, I'm just going to start networking and doing things, it was all of a sudden like I had an Instagram and I have 300 followers, which I
Mhm.
know that's probably not that many to a lot of people, but it's a lot actually to me thinking about where I was at just a few months ago. Cause I don't know about anybody else, but I was cringing thinking, oh, on my personal Instagram, I have like 600 followers. I don't want to start over. But I just started over and I said, I'm just going to make a business Instagram and, whatever. It's not even about the amount of followers. I'm still going to do what I do at the end of the day. But it's just those type of things. Like all of a
Mhm.
sudden, it's just like, bam, you start putting things out in the universe like, hey, this is what I do. This is who I am. And all of a sudden, it's like, hey, do you want to collaborate on this? And I started to get different offers from mom clubs around me and photographers wanted to come to my event and do things. And I'm thinking to myself, geez, this has only been like 2 months. Like, and I'm creating a cool network over here. So that's been awesome.
It's so, I think like there's so many different parts of what you just said that are so important. It's about you getting out of your own way. And what happens when you get yourself out of the way, things do start to line up, and you are in a very early stage of building this business. It went from like having all these ideas to making something concrete and then bringing it into the world. The work doesn't stop. Like there's still work to be done, but just the fact that you went from like kind of spinning around to having something tangible in such a short period of time is incredible, because you were ready to get out of your own way. You were like, this can't be it." So how have you been feeling doing these things? Because it's, yes, it's like what you're doing might not be making a ton of money yet because it's the beginning stages. But was it about making money or was it about something else?
Yeah. So well, if I think back to just other jobs I've had, so I used to be a fifth grade teacher. I did that for 6 years, and then I was a school adjustment counselor. And if I, you know, being an educator is a super fulfilling job, and working with kids is just, it's hilarious, and you do really feel like you're making a difference. I just knew at the end of my career with kind of the public school world, I just didn't really feel like super passionate about what I was doing. And what I did start to realize is I really felt like my niche is working with women, specifically moms. And so there is something that I just feel this fire inside when I am talking to other moms about what's going on with them and helping them with various topics, whether it's, let's set boundaries, or let's figure out a self-care plan or whatever. Like that stuff really fires me up inside. Teaching yoga fires me up inside. When I, leave a yoga class like I did this morning, I felt completely different than when I first walked through the door. So that's why I know I'm on the right path with what I'm doing. And that's not how I necessarily felt when I was working in public education.
Yeah. Yeah. It's powerful to have, make that shift and you can notice the difference of falling into alignment with what you're meant to be doing and how that feels different from the inside out. And that's what fuels you. That's why things started happening pretty quickly for you, because that fire came from within. It came from this almost like a resonance of, I'm supposed to be doing this. And then things just kind of started to happen and unfold. We'd get on a call and you'd be like, this person reached out to me and this person reached out to me. I'm like, that's amazing. Like it takes people a long time to make those kind of connections. Like it doesn't just happen. But when you are in alignment, those connections do tend to come much quicker and almost seemingly like out of thin air, which it's not out of thin air, but it kind of feels like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So was there anything that, was that you were hesitant about coaching? Was there anything that was like holding you back from initially reaching out?
Um, Probably just the financial piece, but it is totally worth it. And it also just makes me excited for, you asked me earlier about, is this really about the money? And I'm like, ultimately, well, I guess ultimately I could answer that both ways. Ultimately, yes. I do want to have a six-figure business one
Mm-hmm.
day, and I do believe that that will happen, but ultimately it's about doing what I want to do at the end of the day while I give back to other people.
Mm-hmm.
That's what, fuels my soul. And so I guess I would just say it was like the financial commitment, but I feel like it's like 100% worth it. Um, and yeah, that was probably it. Otherwise, I felt really good to go. Felt
Yeah.
really excited to work with you.
Yeah. And I think that financial investment is it like something that comes up for a lot of people. And, there's the financial side of it, but then it's also like making that investment is actually like a commitment to bringing those ideas. Like they're not just going to be ideas that are swirling around your head. Like it's actually going to be
Mhm.
something that you bring to life, which even if it's something you want, it's still so uncertain and a little bit scary because you don't know what the future holds with it, that tends to be the thing that actually is holding people back. Like finance is like, that's a big investment, but then it's actually like, well, what happens when I make that investment? You get skin in the game and then you got to do the work. Like
Yeah.
you got to show up for the calls, but more importantly than showing up for the calls is what happens after the calls. Like the tangible things that we're working on to bring these ideas to life. So
Yeah.
what was that process like for you to bring, we had our calls, which, we would work on mindset stuff. We'd work on looking at what's blocking you. We'd also work on very tangible, actionable steps. So what was that like to leave a call and have things to work on and actually know what you're working on?
Super helpful just to because this is how to like coaching, I think, is a lot different than if like therapy, because I mean therapy sometimes you get homework too, but it's just it didn't it I've gone to therapy for a long time. So you can say something in like therapy and then it kind of like doesn't get brought up for another like couple weeks or something. But with coaching, it's just so much more direct and so much more focused. And you really do get this clear cut, like, okay, this is what you're gonna do this week. You're gonna make this document, and you're going to come up with 10 reasons for how to explain yourself, in your business. Um, and so I just having those quick assignments to do, I think just really helped me use not only like the live coaching, but then be able to actually, yeah, like just to be able to go out and like work on something the rest of the week. That really helped me to get these workshops off the ground and things, because if I didn't have an accountability partner kind of being like, hey, like, are you doing this? And like, or like, whatever, why aren't you doing this?
Yeah, but
Like
and
I
that's
wouldn't
the
have been able to do it,
well,
you know.
that's a really big piece. Like you kind of subtly said it, but like, why aren't you doing it? Like
Yeah.
that's really important because the thing is, it's like the stuff to take action on is not complicated. It's like
Mm-hmm.
really quite simple when you break it down, right? And follow steps. But that piece that you just said of like, why aren't you doing it? Like having a space to uncover the blocks is what propels you forward. Because you would be honest. You would be like, this came up or this came up instead of not talking about it. Right. And that's what I would, reiterate over and over. I'm like, it's not about doing this perfectly. We want to know where your blocks are. We want to know why you're having a hard time like creating this or why you're feeling resistance here, because that's ultimately what's going to continue to show up no matter what you do, no matter how you grow your business, how you grow this idea. It will always show up. So we want to address those things when they came up, which I think you did such a beautiful job of like, let's talk about it. Like this resistance was here, this came up, and we really, got to the root of a lot of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's so great. It was so fun. Before we hit record, I was like, I miss you. It's like
I
I miss our conversations.
know.
They're just like, as you can tell, if you're listening to this, Megan's hilarious. So we had a lot of fun on our calls. Anything else that you want to share? And I also want you to share about like, yes, share who you help, what you do. This season of life right now, you're expecting baby number two very soon. We are in the month of the due date.
Yep, we are in the any day now
We're in
phase.
the any day now,
So,
the baby
yes.
watch. But yeah, like share a little bit about like what you do. You've touched on it. We know you work with moms. But share, and then any last thoughts or anything you want to share before we wrap up.
Yeah, sure. So my background is, it's the elementary ed piece, but I also have a master's in mental health counseling. So I am really passionate about people's mental health, specifically mothers. So what I do is I coach moms and I facilitate workshops around mental health topics. So could be self-care, it could be relationships, communication, whatever. You can just pick any topic in the mental health field. And my goal is to really help moms feel more purposeful and more content in their lives. And create connections with each other as well with these workshops. So that's what I really like to do. And I've been having a lot of fun doing it. I also teach yoga. I've also been sober for 11 years, so I can also help any moms with sobriety or just if they're sober curious. And yep, I'm a mother to a 17-month-old, and her name is Bria. And I'm having another baby girl in the due date is April 22nd. So we'll see what happens. Could be that day, could be earlier, later, who knows? We're just gonna flow with it.
I
But
love it.
yeah, I'm just gonna take like a little hiatus for a couple months, and then I'm gonna come back this summer stronger than ever.
More like go into a cocoon. That's how I view postpartum. You go into a cocoon and you do the work, you take care of yourself, take care of your family, and you come out a butterfly on the other side.
Exactly.
Transformation.
Yes.
With just
We're gonna,
sleep
yeah.
deprived.
I'm going, yes, I like, that's all I keep thinking about is now that I
Sleep.
know what I'm in for, I'm
I
like,
know.
and I'm trying to sleep as much as possible right now, but
Seriously, it's like with first one, and you're just like totally romanticize the
yeah.
whole process, and you're like, what? This is what we signed up for? No one told me it was this hard. And it's like, well, no one told you it's this hard because no one would do it. So second time you're like, gotta buckle up for battle. Like we're going into the Thunderdome. I joke because one of my close friends says the newborn phase is a mixture between euphoria and Navy SEAL training. And
Oh,
it's such a good
that's
way to
it.
describe
That's
it.
spot on right
It's
there.
spot on. Like there's no feelings like in the world. It's indescribable, but you're also like training for something. Um, yeah. And I think, what as you were explaining what you do, I just was smiling so big because it was so our first call when you told me what you were into, I was like, it's so clear to me what you're like supposed to be doing, but I can't tell you that. You have to figure it out. That's one of my superpowers is sitting down with someone and like I can see things so clearly for them. The way that they describe it, they're just so in their own echo chamber of their head that they can't. So I could tell them, but that's not going to make the connection. You have to come to it on your own. So to even hear you describe it, I was like, yeah, you merged your love for education and leading and facilitating. You merged your love for mental health, you merged your love for moms and connections and you brought it together, and it's a really beautiful thing, and that's how, to me, that's how you align with your purpose. And you said a very key word that I want to come back to is fun. Like I'm having fun doing it, like I'm enjoying myself. You're not putting all this crazy pressure, like you, and I don't even know if you're consciously aware of this, but you are like, that there's steps to be taken. Yes, getting to a six-figure coaching business, sure, like that can be long-term goal, but you're not thinking of it like, oh, I needed that yesterday. You are just in the phases of, yeah, this is the beginning and this is where I'm at and this is how I'm growing. And like that mentality is so powerful because the people that needed it yesterday, they're coming from lack, they're coming from fear, they're coming from scarcity, and that makes it actually that much further away from what they want.
Yes. Yep.
So um,
100%.
it's just fun to do these interviews because I love, like, we get so caught up in what's next, but like just to pause and be like, look how far you come is so cool. And to you to have those wins, big and small, and to celebrate them and to recognize that is just incredible. And the work you're doing is so important. Like mothers, mental health is everything. And it is so not taken care of
Mm,
um, in our society. And it's a problem. And everybody has a mom. Not everyone will be a mom, but everybody has a mother. Everybody comes from some sort of mother figure. And that ripples into everything that people do. Like the interactions that they have with their mom ripple into the interactions that they have with their friends, interact with the people in the world. And like the mother is the most important piece of that. And it's
yes.
just so undervalued, and people don't look at it like that at all. So this just comes back to my why is being able to help people that align with their purpose to go help other people in their community. And then that creates a positive ripple because I won't be able to impact every single person in this world. But if I can help someone that can make an impact in their community, I'm like, I'm living my purpose and I have done my job. So thank you for signing up for coaching and listening to the whisper of like, there has to be something else, and then bringing it to life. And this is just the beginning for you. I'm so excited for you, excited for baby number 2, and for you to really like get to go through that journey again, but with this whole new perspective of like who you are and what you're doing in this world. And I'm excited to see like what comes of it, in 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. So we'll be following along, cheering you on every step of the way.
Thank you so much.
You're
And
so welcome.
yeah, I'm just
Any last thoughts you want to share before we wrap up?
think that's it. I'm just super happy with my coaching experience with you. And I definitely just want to still keep in touch, and I'm definitely still booking that 20-minute call. And
Okay, girl, I'm not going anywhere.
yeah,
Yeah.
I'll book that at the end of May. That sounds good. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's been so such an awesome journey, and I feel like I've just grown so much in such a short period of time, and I'm excited for what's to come.
Like this is, I always say, like the best is yet to come. This is just the beginning. And yeah, your growth in such a short period of time was incredible. Like I just saw it all happening, but then it like surprises me, but then also doesn't, because I see it time and time again with alignment. You know, when people are like, what is alignment? It's like when your body and your mind are like working together, and your
Mhm.
body and your mind were not. They were disconnected. And then once you got them back on the same page, it was like boom, boom, boom. So it's exciting to see where this will go. Thank you so much for your time and taking a chance on coaching, and just everything that you shared. Your story will 100% inspire so many women. So thank you.
Thanks, Brittany.